Hello, everybody. I am here, and it's the start of a new year. And let's hope 2021 is going to be a lot better than 2020 was. We don't miss 2020, do we? Not a bit. Oh, Inger's here. Hello, Inger. Gosh, look at all these people. It's so wonderful. Hi, Bonnie. Let me see. Oh, my goodness. This is great. Jody and Nikki, Cheryl, Marcia. Oh, Kathy Klein. Sonia, I've got to talk to you, girlfriend. I have been so busy this week with this mystery quilt that I hadn't checked my email for days. And I this morning caught a glimpse of something, and I haven't had a chance to write you, but I will be writing you, girl. Let me tell you. So Deborah Tunnell is here. It is so good. And our Susan, thank goodness. I tell you what, I'm so appreciative of Susan because it was so much fun having a chat site open when I was working on the mystery quilt, and people kind of came and went, and it was a lot of fun. Lot of fun. Use on that satin binding, try using a walking foot. Also, in lieu of that, you can hand bind it first. Just do a big basting stitch to get it in place, but a walking foot might help you out. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up, because it does help. If people see that I get good ratings, they're more likely to watch. So, hello, Marcia and Bonnie. Did y'all happen to get a package yet? Probably not. The mail is so backed up. But this is great. Diane 57 is here. Happy New Year, everybody. So, this is great. I found a new show on Netflix. I like telling y'all because enough of you have Netflix, and we've only got one episode left of Schitt's Creek, and I'm already grieving. I'm going to miss that show so much. And Catherine O'Hara played the best role in one of the last couple shows. I mean, she was so good to Stevie. So the show has really wormed its way into my heart, and I'm going to miss it. But hi, Inger. I am so glad you're here. This is wonderful. Maybe Nadine can pop in, because that way you can more easily speak to each other. And Linda McCollum, hi, sweetie. In fact, Linda, there's something over there that I put so everybody could see it, and it would keep me happy. And Bonnie is here. This is just so good. Deborah Donnell, Cheryl Hogan. Oh my gosh, Michelle. Hi, sweetie. She's got to come back in again. But she and I got to catch up. It was the most we've talked since she moved about 6 years ago. So it was wonderful. And what we're thinking, that was sweet of you, Susan. What we're thinking is to try to do a sew-in where we just chat. Susan chats a lot in the evening with Bonnie. And it's just a nice way because you just talk. You don't have to type anything in. You can sit and sew and just chat. And, Grand is back. Grand, honey, Alexis, we were going to send out a search team for you. We have been so worried about you, darling. So it's so good to see you here. So anyway, okay. And so at nighttime, I'm usually pretty tuckered out, and I love sitting and just watching shows and doing handwork with Mark, watching shows with Mark and doing handwork. But I'm thinking any of you daytime people, if you want to do a Jitsi where we can just pick a time that we're going to sew and just sit and chat. It felt like, for Michelle and I, it felt like it was the old times when we used to come and sew together. So I would like to. Oh, isn't that a beautiful dog in the background? Is this the. I'm wondering if you mean this. Isn't that sweet? That's Miss Cheryl made that. So I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Nikki, but if not, I'll try to figure out what you were. You'll see a new quilt hanging over there on the frame. This week, oh, maybe they're talking about something else. This week I did a Merry Mayhem. You see, let me see. Oh, both dogs are on the floor. Maisie? There's Miss Maisie. I see Miss Maisie, and then Blossom. There's Miss Blossom. And it's so cold down here that they're laying on the backing fabric that I washed and hadn't ironed yet. And when they were cold, I looked around and said, what can I grab them to get comfortable and warm in? And that's what I threw on the floor. So technically I have to wash it again, but hey, I'll do anything for my pups, you know? So anyway, but yeah, so this morning they got brushed. I tried to cut off a few knots. I hate to groom them when it's this cold, but that means I have to brush them and try to handle any knots that come up. But anyway, and the new pup, the new to our family, Maisie girl, is really doing good. She actually slept up right beside me under the blanket this morning. And she stays in a crate at night. And then after Mark gets up, because, you know, I was up till 4 a.m. So if I look a little haggard, yeah, that's it. And but after he gets up in the morning, he lets the dogs out, and then they all come running and jump in bed with me, and they'll stay in there as long as I'm in the bed. And I love it. If one of them's missing, I wake up. I just sense something's not right. So yeah, Blossom's a good girl. Are you a good girl, Blossom? Where? Oh, she's so tired. Are you so tired, good girl? She can't even lift her head right now. She's very tired. She had good-sized mats on her ears, and she does not like me to groom her. I have to take her out to have her groomed. If I try to use the trimmer, she will bite it. So she has to go elsewhere. So anyway, oh, that's right. You're from Norway. So you wouldn't speak German, so you wouldn't be able to talk to Nadine. I apologize. It is so good to have you here. And we love Norway. Beautiful big country. So, yeah, we have some new folks. Good for you for noticing, Grand. And but we missed you, Grand. But anyway, the reason I have that is called diminutive vessels. And it was a Merry Mayhem mystery. And I was a quilt tester for it. It was my last quilt testing assignment I did, because that's when I had the epiphany that I'm no good at this. But I love that little quilt, and I thought I would show you. That's how I know that Merry Mayhem does quality quilt mysteries. Also, if you have a group that you belong to and you would like to do something fun, she will give you licensing at a reduced price that then you can use with your group, and they'll each get their own pattern. So check with her, because she's very group friendly. And then I will be showing you my quilt from Friday's Mystery Quilt. I was down here from little after 9 a.m. until 7 that night. It was too long. I went up and ate, and then came down and cleaned up and tried to sew on one more thing. And I just want to put a disclaimer in. I really worked hard this year to try to be more on time for the mystery and be ready to sew. You can't put together a top in one day. You can come pretty close, But one thing I love about Mary Mayhem Mysteries is that she has you work up all the components. So your last few steps are putting the components together. That's big for me because you know how impatient I am, and you know I will go looking for squirrels if I get bored. So it's so nice. You do the kind of grunt work or hard work, boring work maybe. You do that early, and it gets more and more fun as you move through. I'm not sure if I did receive from Bonnie a COVID 2020 quilt photo. I did see her latest test quilt, very pretty. In fact, we're going to show it today. So I got pretty far in the Mary Mayhem, and I'll talk to you about that, and then I'll show you what I've gotten done. I was trying so hard right up until the minute that I was coming on to try to get more done of it, but then I realized one of my borders is too long. There's Maureen Cullis. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, wow. Maureen, did you get COVID? I'm trying to remember. One of our members got COVID. So, you just sent it today. Ooh, I'll have to, if it's sent directly to my Our Time to Quilt at twc.com, I can check it real quick before I show the rest of the pictures. If it's on the group, it's too hard for me to get to right now. But yes, you're one of the statistics. Oh, Maureen, we're so glad to see you back. I was worried the other day. I said, I know some of our members are bound to have gotten it, and I'm so worried. So how are you doing, hon? Oh, my goodness. Very sorry to hear you're safe. Good, honey, good. So anyway, I've got lots of things to show you. And first, I just have to do a little bit of bragging. Yes, thank good. Oh, boy. It was a long, hard road. People, wear your mask. Wash your hands. Oh, thank you, Bonnie. Good. And just so you know, any of you that put photos in the photo albums, I now figured out how to get them out. Deborah Donnell did such a great job of putting photos in her photo album, and I kept playing with all the little buttons until I found a way that I could extract a copy of the picture so I can show you on Sunday. So I found you had to download it first, then you could do save as a JPEG. So yay. So that way, Bonnie, you don't have to send them both places. I now have figured out how to get them off the website. Finally. So, and Maureen, we are so happy you're better. Mark and I have diabetes, I'm overweight, and I only have one kidney now. So I'm terrified to get that illness. And I want to live and live and live and live. So, I know, Grand, Alexis, the thing about losing someone and then getting some special belongings is everything you make and you use her beads and things, you are honoring her memory. And she would be so proud. And so maybe every bead that you use can be an appreciation for the time you had her. And maybe that might help ease the pain a little, because I know you miss her. So maybe it could be looked at as a tribute every time you look at her beads or you use them in one of your items. So I'm hoping that'll bring some. Okay, let's talk about this COVID thing. I've put off a couple tests that aren't urgent because I'm not going anywhere. Our little county now has over 20,000 confirmed cases, and that's from the beginning to now. It's a cumulative number. But our caseload has been 15.5%. That's ridiculous. And we just had 5 more deaths in our county. We're up to 221 deaths as of yesterday. So let me tell you something. I stay home. I'm not taking a chance. The horror stories I've heard about this virus, the stories of they don't know if the sense of smell and taste will come back for some people. They don't know what kind of heart conditions, brain conditions, the COVID virus can attach itself to the type of nutrients that can pass through the brain blood barrier. You know how people say, oh, take this vitamin for your brain. Well, your brain protects itself by having a barrier. COVID has figured out how to sneak in there. This is scary. They don't know what ramifications this could have. And I always, I read these stories like the 41-year-old congressman-elect who died from it, or the man who manned the booth at the White House, the security booth, who was in his 40s and lost half of one leg and part of another, the foot and stuff. It's scary, guys. Please, we've got we were told we were going to have 20 million vaccinations done by January 1st. Wrong. We've only had 3 million done. So until we can get a competent government system set up to work the vaccinations, we have to be careful. Please don't let your guard down, even with the vaccinations coming. 80% of this country have to be vaccinated before we can take a sigh of relief, okay? We are so far away from having 80% of this country vaccinated. It won't be till next summer sometime. So do me a favor. Stay home. Don't go out at all if you can possibly help it. Mark does our grocery shopping because he doesn't have my high risk categories. He goes, it's 6:30 in the morning. He wants to be the first person at the grocery store because then it's had all night for the air to clean. He wears a mask. He goes through, before he touches anything, he uses hand sanitizer on his hands. And anything he might have touched, he brings the groceries in and he sits them on the counter. And except for the refrigerator, freezer items, they sit on the counter all day. We just let the COVID, whatever, if there's some on it, most likely not. But even when I put the groceries away, I wash my hands right after. Mark, after he comes back from the grocery store, goes and takes a shower and puts the clothes he was wearing down the laundry. We have been able to stay safe, even though we live in a county that's in the crisis level. The state of North Carolina is crisis level. Most of the whole country is crisis level. Your masks work, but wash them. If you have to wear them to go to the grocery store, come home, put those in the wash with your clothes. But please, if you take these precautions, yes, it's hard not seeing our families. Yes, it's hard not seeing friends, but it's not worth it. Maureen can tell you it is not worth getting sick. So I am asking you a favor. It's a brand new year. I want to see all of you here with me the entire year. Please don't take chances. Please hang on a little bit longer. We've already made it 9-10 months. We can make it 4 or 5 months more. Okay? I'm counting on you. I'm really counting on you. So thank you. All right. You have shingles? I hate shingles. I think they're now starting to do the shingles shot a little bit early in your 50s, but check with your insurance, because if you don't have good health insurance or health insurance that covers it, it's like a $700 to $900 injection. So, but if you have the health insurance that covers it, please get your shingles shot. I had shingles that started here and went up into my head. Luckily, did not get in my cornea. It could have blinded me. And I still have nerve pain from that. If I get stressed or tired, my eye hurts. It doesn't quite work right. So please get your shingles and vaccinations. And I'm going to say this, I try not to be bossy with you. If you don't get this COVID vaccination, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to hunt you down and I'm going to grab you by the earlobe and I'm going to drag you to go get your vaccination. So as soon as you can possibly get that vaccination, get out there and get it. Okay? I'll stop bossing, but I mean it. I mean it, guys. So I've watched everybody take the shot, and they've done wonderfully. Out of over 3 million people, you heard of one nurse that had an allergic reaction, and she's fine now. They handled it. They gave her the EpiPen. She's fine. So let's get that. Get that. All right. Enough bossing of y'all. I'm going to show you some things I got first and remind you, I forget that I have this wonderful wool ironing mat. And so when I got all ready and I cleared off all my spaces, I spent 6 hours cutting fabric and marking all my diagonals. I never marked diagonals. Guess what? It really worked nicely. So maybe I'll consider starting to. Normally I fold them in half and iron them and don't worry about it. But it was nice having the marked. I think I got more accuracy. But anyway, luckily when I came down here to clean up before Friday morning sew-in, I saw those woolly mats and I pulled them out. Boy, does the woolly mat do a great job with ironing things nice and flat. And it's something about the way the heat goes into the wool, the heat and the moisture, and it just gives them a nice steam and they come out so flat. Now here, look at how many pieces this block has in it. Look how many pieces. But look how flat this thing is laying. Look at that. Now, right here, it's because I pulled it down and trimmed out behind it. But that woolly mat does a phenomenal job. And while I'm telling you about grading the seam, because that's what's called, grading the seam. See, I took and trimmed down the back part of this. So when the seam goes back together, you can't see it, but it takes out an extra layer at a point where you've got all these intersections coming together. And that way makes it easier to quilt it. And it'll lay flatter and look prettier. And if you want to get it nice and flat and smooth, don't forget your starch. Starch is my new best friend with quilting. So, don't forget your woolly mat. And Michelle, I told them how we had the best time talking and sewing for hours. And I would like to make that a regular thing. And, you know, it ought to me, I told Mark, it almost felt like we were back to sewing together. Even though we weren't in the same room, it felt like we were. So I wish I could hear Michelle better. I'm not sure what her phone does or if it's my computer. I sometimes have a hard time understanding what she's saying, but I want to do that again. So please remember, Jitsi is a very good thing. Okay. Thought I would show you a few of the things I got for Christmas. And I want to make some more of the covered journals. I've got so many charms and boho beads I've made and just interesting little things, interesting little bits. And so I was looking on Amazon to see what kind of journals they had. Most of the journals were small and only had 30 pages in them. Well, 30 pages doesn't do anything. So what I did is I found these marble notebooks, and they have lots of pages. Let me see if it tells me. 100 sheets. That's 200 pages. So, I mean, you know, if you go do the front and the back. And I thought this would be great. So then I'm going to use fabric and a decoupage medium and find really creative ways, because my daughter and my granddaughter love the journals I made for them. So I'm kind of excited to try this. And it's another way of being creative and embellishing. And right now, I'm all about embellishing. So you can use scraps of fabric, whatever. But I got 6 of these for $9.99. And I think I'm going to like them. And the covers aren't too heavy. So by the time I put the fabric and stuff on them, then I think they'll be perfect. So since I only got 6 to try to start out, see how I did. But what I did then is I got some interesting fabrics. Now, I don't know if you can see this, ladies, but it has writing. There we go. It has writing on it. And I thought, yes, they are nice and inexpensive at Dollar Tree. These are the Oxford, the good quality. I'm not sure if the Dollar Tree is, but a Dollar Tree is cheaper. So, okay. So here is, and I'm not going in a Dollar Tree. So luckily, Amazon brought it to me. So I got this fabric. I got a yard of it. And then look at this. Look at this fabric. It's all full of positive words. Thought that would be good for a journal. Then I found this, and it looked like antique thimbles and buttons. And I thought, well, that would be kind of cool. Yes. Oh, in fact, I should. Oh, thank you, Miss Nikki. I thought I just saw that Diane 57 was talking about shingles. If you think you're getting shingles, get to the doctor immediately. She can give you an antiviral, and the antiviral shortens the length of time you have the shingles and the intensity, and it can prevent long-lasting nerve pain. I got my antiviral before the doctor could really see anything to confirm shingles. But by how I described it, she went ahead. She said, I'm giving you this antiviral. Let's don't take chances. And oh my gosh, the little nerve pain I do get would have been much worse if I hadn't have treated it. So soon as you think you have shingles, get to the doctor, and they can prescribe an antiviral and take it religiously. So here, look at this cool fabric. Isn't this beautiful? It looks like wildlife journals or journaling type material. So I got all of this from I Need Fabric at $2.99 a yard. So, and then, I have that other fabric and that has writing on it that I was that one day trying to embellish with dyeing and stamping. So anyway, this year I said, what do I want for Christmas? And mostly it was crafting supplies because it keeps me busy, makes me happy. And I'm at an age where I don't need that much stuff. So, other things I got, let me bring them a little closer. All right. Other things I got were, I wanted some Lumiere from Jacquard, and this is that. It's a metallic paint line. They have 33 colors, but this is the sampler pack, and it is wonderful. It's a very light-bodied paint, it says. Super soft feel on untreated fabric, leather, silk, paper, and wood. So it's very creative, and this is metallic, and I loved these. I put these inside plastic ornaments and did a swirl. Beautiful. So I use these for a lot of things, but I use them on the ornaments that I dot paint and hand paint. Very, very much fun. And then, because I'm really enjoying decorating ornaments, and because using these needle tip bottles makes it easy to do dot painting, I ordered this bag from Amazon that had, I think, 25 bottles, and it comes with 5 little tiny, wait a minute, I know what this is, funnel. It comes with 5 little funnels that it's easy to put it in the bottle and fill it with paint. Because, That's the hardest part is you've got to get paint into this little thing. The other thing I liked is it has the soft rubber tip that fits on the bottle. So after you use it, you put the soft rubber tip back on it, push it down all the way, and then it protects your paint. This was like $8 and something for 25 bottles and 5 funnels. Very good purchase. This year, I told Mark, I'm having to order everything online and order early enough to hope it gets to the kids. Can you order what you want for Christmas and I'll order what I want so I can just get it done? He said, sure. And it helped. So we each got just what we wanted because we ordered for ourselves. Well, I've been loving doing the Christmas ball ornaments. I get them from Michael's, wherever, and they're 25, almost 3 inches, 2 7/8 or something inch plastic, but they look great. They're so clear. They are sturdy. I get those balls, and then I put the polyurethane. In fact, oh shoot, I didn't leave it here, but Mark he had to get some drain opener because we were having problems with our kitchen drain. And so what we did is we ordered from Home Depot, ordered online for curbside pickup. And I said, use my car, roll down one of the back windows, just tell them, throw it in. So he got me. I said, while you're there, I need 8 ounces of Varathane water-based polyurethane. And so he got me some. And that's good because on Amazon, I looked and looked and looked because I'm cheap. I wanted the most extra fine glitter for the cheapest price. And this was it. Look at these colors. They've got the neon colors down through the metallic colors, through also the jewel tones. So I got this, and I don't remember the price right off the hand, but I love these bottles. I was using sampler packs and of little clear plastic envelopes, and it did one pack. It took one pack to do one ornament. So that's going to be nice. It gives me a whole lot more. Jamie's here. I can't wait to show you photos of Miss Crystal. Oh, she's just precious. So precious. Vicki Lemire. Hello, Vicki. Nice seeing you. So, anyway, yeah, I go for the bargain. And let me tell you, Marcia, I mailed you and Bonnie something a couple weeks ago, so it should be there soon. But let me tell you, I want the bargain because I want as much for as little as I can. Now, I like doing the plastic ornaments, doing the dot painting on them, or doing grids, just decorating them. It's just fun. One day, hopefully, I'll have a Etsy store, but for right now, I'm just loving making it. And and as long as it's part of my Santa, I can do what I want. Do you remember these? Any of you who took art classes? It's what we used to call a grease paint pencil. Or some people call them China markers. And they are wonderful, especially to draw on like tile or shiny surfaces. They draw so easily. And you can't sharpen them with a pencil sharpener. That's where the little string comes along. You peel them to reveal more tip. Well, I found a vendor on Amazon, and he sold them in a box of 12 for just a little bit more than what I could get 2 or 3 for. So I got a box of 12. I will never use all of these. So if you would like to try something like that and you need a grease pencil, let me know. Okay? So got that. But that way now I can use them on eggs that I dye, although I'd rather not. But those ornaments, now I can draw out the ornament easily. It'll stay because you can't, those plastic ornaments, they're so slick. I couldn't figure out anything to use to draw on there that would stay, but then I could remove if I wanted. So Those are good. Then I went to a really nice discovery.com, I think it's the name of it. It's a bookseller, and he deals with secondhand books of good condition. And I got all the classics for my grandsons, and that's on their way to them right now. Oh, also, please remember. Oh, yes, you used them for the projectors at school. Exactly. But please remember, if you're sending only magazines or books, you can use media mail. This was a like 4-pound package of books, and media mail was only $4, where it would have been 8 to 10 if I had sent it priority. So remember that. Also remember though, media mail ships slow because it's kind of low on the priority list. You get what you pay for. But I'm fine with that. My son, his kids are overwhelmed with all the presents anyway, so whatever. But remember, if it's only books or magazines or newspapers, ask for media. You can't put anything else in it but that. And ask for media mail. So from that bookseller, I got all of those children's classic books for like $2, maybe $3 a piece. Guess what I found on there? The only Jenny Beyer book that I didn't have. And I have her classic work where she has like 5,000 quilt blocks that she has done historical referencing on, and explains each block and how many segments and what's the ratio of the segments. I mean, oh goodness, goes right over this head. Let me tell you, she's too smart for me. But I love having that. I try to have all of Jenny's books because I love Jenny Beyer, okay? But anyway, this is a pattern book. She had a picture on the front of her book that had some of the blocks that you would find inside the book. And people kept saying, where can I get that pattern? So she wrote a pattern book. I got this for $3, and it's normally a $25 book. So I'm thrilled. And in this book, what I love about it is it has her templates. So I just lay this on the scanner bed of my printer. I can print out the templates, don't even have to take them out of the book. And if you don't have a scanner on your printer, lay a thin paper over it and draw through the paper, what you see on the paper. But anyway, it is the book that you can use to make this quilt. So I think this was the best deal of all. So I decided this past week, Mark and I have taken off 11 days total from weekend through the weekend. He took off for vacation time because we haven't been able to vacation. And so I took it off with him. So I have to apologize. I haven't done a lot of work on the room or on projects that I had been working on, like the Christmas quilt and the Art Deco quilt. I apologize, but I took a lot of time to play. And in that playing, I did some Pysanky eggs. And unfortunately, I was on Jitsi the night that I was getting the wax off of this egg that I did. This egg. And I did 3 layers of dyeing, which that's the hard part. Well, when I was sitting there talking to Susan and Bonnie, I stuck my thumb through the egg. I accidentally hit it against the computer. I heard what I thought sounded like a cracking sound. I'm sitting there and I'm heating it up with the candle and wiping off the excess wax to reveal that beautiful pattern that I worked hours to make. And all of a sudden, boom, my thumb went right through the egg. So I had to say, oh, hold on, guys. I've got to run. I've got yolk coming out all over me. and it wasn't a very funny yolk. Ha, pun. Anyway, today it was still in one piece. And then I decided to put it in an open top plastic container in my bag, in my project bag to bring downstairs. And this is the shape it arrived downstairs in. Because probably my laptop smashed it. So anyway, goodbye egg. That's the last we'll see of that one. But you remember I showed you this one that I did. And I think that came out pretty good. It's not quite as good as I'd like. It needs more contrast. But now this egg, the Pysanky. Oh, who's leaving? Oh, bye, Diana57. It was good seeing you. Okay, so this egg needs higher contrast. But what I'll do with it now is I will blow the egg out, the contents out. Let it, rinse it really good so it doesn't get funky. Let it dry. And then I will take my clear water-based varnish and I will varnish it. And that will give it some strength, even though it's delicate. And I'll have that for a while. So then I had worked on this one. And here is this finished result. And this also needs to be blown out and coated with a varnish. Oh, that's a neat idea, Bonnie. I've always wanted to do a mosaic with eggshells. That's a neat idea. I'm going to try that. See, you guys come up with the best ideas. I learn more from y'all than I can possibly teach y'all. But here is the egg. And the 2-color eggs are a lot easier. But this is not perfect. There are places where the line didn't come all the way down. It kind of looks like a batik if you think about it. Maybe that's why I like it. But this is an egg I did recently. And so now and I've cleaned all that wax off. And now this needs to be blown out and then sealed. Then I did this one. This is a Christmas egg. And it has 2 colors, the green and the red. And what is kind of a feather design going up. But you see where on the feathers, there's little skip places? That's the hardest thing. I told you, I'm just a beginner on this. Because making sure you've got that little kitska that you heat up in the candle flame and the wax comes out. And you never know for sure if the wax really got on the shell good. And unless it really got absorbed into the shell, you will get skips and misses. But all in all, this is not bad. So, and I had to dye this 2 times. The white is where I put it on a plain white egg. Then I dyed it the green. Then I put wax over the green, and then I put it in a red dye, and the rest of it absorbed the red. So here is a different kind of egg than I've ever done because I'm not as good on precision work. I mean, this is a math kind of project. I mean, you have to get everything in the right shape and size, and I don't do that well. These little diamond shapes, that one's a lot smaller than this one. So geometric patterns are a little harder on me. What I'm better at is just freehand drawing. And so here's a wreath on this one. Here's a window with some frost on the panes, a candle with a wreath around it, then a Christmas tree. So this one's going to be a Christmas egg, and I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to take whatever's green now, and I'm going to put wax over that. But the snowman, see my cute little snowman? I don't want him to be a green snowman. I certainly don't want him to be a yellow snowman. So I think I'm going to maybe try some little paint, white paint, put that on him, and then wax over that. I don't know if it'll work, but I'll let you know. So this one, then I want to, once I save all the green areas, I might do a deep blue or something over that. So that's my Paisenki that I've been working on this week. And it's fun. I love, the only thing is Mark hates the smell of the candle and the beeswax. So I have to be kind of careful. He doesn't like the smell of fingernail polish either. And you know what? I love the guy, so I'm going to try to be sensitive to his needs. So, oh, and I meant to tell you this. He decided he was going to make the New Year's Day dinner. But he knew I was going to get so engrossed in my mystery quilt. He said, I'll do it Saturday. He got something. I'd never had it before because I'm a girl from a budget. I mean, my frugal ways go back to a childhood. We never bought it. He got one of those rib roasts, like it could be a standing rib roast if you carved the bones a little more or something. It was like $25, and we never spend that much for meat. Although it's going to go 2 meals. But he got that, and then he went on the internet, and he was researching and checking Alton Brown and all of these, checking consumer something. No, he didn't French. Look at Susan. No, he didn't French the bone. I told him, don't take any meat off that. That was expensive. And it was about like this big, maybe 5 pounds. So it was expensive. But anyway, he researched and found out that you have to bring it to room temperature before you cook it. So it has to sit out a couple hours. It's kind of what they call aging the meat. And you also want to dry it out. You can dry it out in the refrigerator, or you can dry it out on the counter. And so he did all that stuff. And then he found, don't over season it. And I think he used cardamom, salt, and pepper. And let me turn off my heater. I am getting a flushed feeling. Woo! Let me turn on my fan, girlfriends. I can't think to talk when I get hot. So hold on. So anyway, but he did coarse ground pepper. He said, do we have any kosher salt? I said, no. Last time I had it, I used it to dye fabric. But we used some sea salt, and that, worked. And he cooked that thing. And you have to cook it real low for a couple of hours. Then take it out. Then turn your oven up to 500 degrees. And and it takes a while for the oven to preheat to that. So you let it rest when it's out. He kept using the temperature probe. And then he put it in the oven. I forget for how long, at 500 degrees. Oh my gosh. I'm glad we did it, but we're not going to do it again anytime soon. Because it smells up the whole house, and I have asthma. So when I get those kind of cooking scents in the house, I'm sitting here with my inhaler going, oh my gosh. But I've got to tell you, that was the most glorious piece of meat I've ever tasted. I've had some good Delmonico steaks or some, good porterhouse steaks. But oh my gosh, it was like butter. I didn't know meat could be like that. So, and I'm not used to eating medium rare meat, but oh my goodness. And then he made some Uncle Ben's wild rice, and I had some fresh asparagus in the refrigerator. I said, let me throw those on. And so that was our dinner, and it was pretty awesome, I gotta tell you. So, but anyway, gotta give him a little bit of credit, So, I've been working on a Christmas quilt, and I've been designing an Art Deco quilt, and I have not touched either of those for 2 weeks. I've had other things going on. You know how it is Christmas time. But I saw some fabric on Jordan Fabrics. And you know, we love Jordan Fabrics. We love Donna Jordan and her husband who hand cuts those pre-cuts so that you don't have the pinked edges and all the thread dust. We love Jordan Fabrics. I saw this fabric line and it was called, it's based on, I'm doing the Art Deco quilt. Well, back during the Art Deco period, the big thing was King Tut's tomb, I don't know if it was actually King Tut, but they did a lot of exploration in Egypt and looked up all of the king's tombs, and they were raiding them and pulling stuff out. So that was real big during the same time. So I saw this fabric, and it's something about Alexandria. Let me find the name of this line. It's Treasures of Alexandria. Well, this has a metallic glint. I don't know if you can see, but it's got, there you go. It's got bling on it. And I said, that's the perfect other color that I need for my Art Deco quilt. So I had to order a yard of it. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I hate for fabric to be lonely. And I said, this fabric's got to travel all the way from Oregon to North Carolina. I don't want it to be lonely in that package, so I had to pick up some of this. I said, Mark, you understand, don't you? And he said, oh, yeah, we don't want that fabric to be lonely. So I picked up a yard of this, which is so beautiful. Let me see if I can show it to you a little better. And this is Treasures of Alexandria. Look at all of those amazing designs. What they're doing with fabric nowadays, be still my heart. So let me show you the tag. So if you fall in love, think you're going to fall in love with it as much as I did, you'll be able to find it. This is a Robert Kaufman. You know Robert Kaufman Fabrics does such a wonderful job. robertkaufman.com. And all right, was it made in Japan? No wonder it's so exquisite. Ready? Okay. I hope you can see it. And this is Treasures of Alexandria by Robert Kaufman. This particular one is number 18845. And when I went to Jordan Fabric, she had the whole line of this stuff. So that is exquisite. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might just walk around, you know, with it on me and touching it and feeling it and giving it little kisses. I don't know about y'all, but my big fantasy is to always bring a bag of new fabric home and roll all around on it because it's just so exciting. I get so excited. So that's it for my new stuff. But this, now that I have this, I can go in and finish the design of the Art Deco quilt. But I just think that is so exciting. So thank you. That is Jordan Fabrics. And they're out in Oregon. So I don't know if we have our Kathleen, oh gosh, now I've forgotten her last name. You can tell when I don't go to bed on time, I get the drop ideas drop right out of my brain. But we have a member who's from Washington State. So that's close by her. Okay. So let's see. Ooh, Miss Bonnie put a great, let me give you, I'm going to type in a web address. Miss Bonnie, I love everybody sharing stuff. And if you are like me, the beginning of a new calendar year, we promise we're going to be so organized. So to help you, look up ConniePresin.com/2021-quilt hyphen calendar and then / again. So if you go, that would be www.conniecrescent.com and 2021 quilt calendar / She has a monthly calendar where you can record your projects that you would like to attempt, and then you can record them as you finish them. And it's a great way to start out a year because, oh my gosh, this past week when I've been looking for fabrics to use for my mystery quilt, I'm like, I forgot I had all this stuff. So sometimes it's kind of nice to get organized and then you'll be a lot more productive. I just found a piece of eggshell. I like Miss Bonnie's idea about using it for mosaics. So I'm going to keep that eggshell. Oh, look at Susan. Susan's the best, isn't she? So anyway, I guess I've kept you waiting long enough. So let's talk about the mystery quilt. Just to tell you, oh, thank you. That way, all you have to do, you don't have to copy mine and paste it. You can click on her link. Isn't she the best? Love our Susan. So when you do a mystery quilt, most of you have heard me tell you this, but I'll say it just in case. Hopefully, we've got a couple new people. What it is you are given the instructions ahead of time. The fabric requirements and the cutting instructions. And so this is what we were given. Mary Mayhem quilt, case number 145. And one thing Mary Mayhem excels at is describing what properties you want in your fabrics. Because you know what? Fabrics are expensive now. $12 a yard? Hello. And so mystery quilts were fine when fabric was $5 and $6 a yard. But now that it's double that price, I'm a lot choosier about what kind of quilts I'm going to use with my fabric. My fabrics become very precious. And I'm cheap, so you know that. But anyway, she does the most wonderful job of describing what kind of fabrics you need and why. And then she even gives you a picture chart of what she chose for each fabric and why. Well, thanks, Susan. So Alexis, we want to see how your chromium's doing. So anyway, so it really helped me. This is why I love her designs. They're not fly-by-night designs. They're quality designs. And then she does such a wonderful job of explaining why you need something and why she chose what she did that you go, I get it. When what to use, like fabric C, medium scale, multicolor, light to medium tones. That's really wonderful. And then she tells you which one is the fabric that you're going to choose the colors for the rest of the quilt from. And she talks about lights and darks from the same color family. So I started looking through my closet. I bought some fabrics from Pineapple Fabrics about a year ago, and I didn't know what I was going to use them for, but I knew I loved them. And so I had put them together in a gallon Ziploc bag, just waiting for the right project to come along. Well, this was the right project. So I'm going to show you. I had bought this from Pineapple Fabrics, and I love big English rose florals. I always will. But I had gotten all these fabrics and put them together. And I didn't end up using these two because by the description, I knew they were too dark. So I will save those with the rest of the floral that I've got left. Then I was looking for just the right light tone that would relate to the other colors I got. Wouldn't you know, the only fabric that I even liked to go with it was in a Jenny Beyer sack as a completer kit for one of my Jenny Beyer one of her blocks of the month. So, but look at this. It is a natural color with a darker beige or taupe, and it has just the hint of pink. Hello. This could not have been more perfect if I had designed it myself. So I'm going to have to see if Miss Jenny Beyer has this fabric any longer, or does she have something similar, because I have robbed Peter to pay Paul. And at some point, I got to finish Peter, so I've got to have some more of this. But anyway, girl does what she has to do. And right now, this quilt needs to be made. So that one, I'll worry about that one a little bit later. So I followed all the steps. And let me tell you, it took 6 hours to do the cutting. See the instructions here? And as I cut, I check off that section. It's done. Then I had a bunch of baggies, and I took a Sharpie and I put A, B, C, D, whatever, and E1, E2. I put all of that on. So I worked very neatly in a very tidy manner. And there were almost 100 squares that I had to draw diagonals on. And you know me, that just seems like a waste of time when you can put 4 together and iron them in half, but it did work. It made them very accurate. So, in fact, Bonnie, I'm sorry, I used your Christmas card as a straight edge to draw across the diagonal, but I didn't have a ruler for that upstairs, and so I had to make do. But your Christmas card worked great. So anyway, but it took me 6 hours to cut all of this. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. But I kept telling myself it would all be worth it. And when I was done, then I could just sew. I don't know about y'all, but the cutting out of fabric, I get excited at first. You know, it's like, oh, I'm starting to cut out my fabric. Pretty soon it was like, oh my God, I've got to cut how many? 2 7/8? Oh, give me a break. So, but I got through it. I just, in fact, she even says at the bottom, she says, phew, that was a lot of cutting, wasn't it? Yes, it was. But I had them all in the baggies, ready to go. Now, I saw her first, she put out part 2 on Christmas Day. And y'all know, I have a hard time following all the rules. And I looked at this simple little instruction page, and I thought, oh, that's easy. I can do that in just a few minutes. Because it looks simple, right? Until you read that, get your remaining 38 2 7/8 inch squares of fabric D and 38 2 7/8 inch squares of fabric E, and then make half square triangles, cut them in half, get off your dog ears. Now you have 76 half square triangle units. Then, oh, we're not done yet. Next, gather up your 16 2 3/8 inch squares of fabric D plus 8 2 3/8 inch squares each of fabric E1 and E2, and make more half square triangles. And then you'll end up with 16 of those, but then you have to go back and check them and make sure that the first ones are 2.5 inches square, the second ones are 2 inches square. That's not, 20 minutes worth of work. So anyway, I started off the day a little slow, but then I had so much fun chatting with Susan, chatting with Michelle, chatting with Jody. And you know what was so neat is I had a lot of work to do and I was really hyper focused. So Jody and I, for like a couple hours, we just each sewed. We would just say a little bit here and there, but we were so focused. But it was just nice knowing she was there. And then she had a cat, and the cat and I flirted with each other. So Gracie and I kind of bonded, But anyway, then at 10 o'clock in the morning, pattern part 3 came out. And that came out at 10 in the morning, and I started on it around noon. Sorry, I was running behind. Then part 4 came out, and she does such a wonderful job of printing instructions and showing you the picture, which you know me now, I like the pictures. So then part 5 came out at, I guess, around noon. And then part 6 came out at 1, and I did this about 7 o'clock that day, so I was running a little late. And then here is part 7. And this is what she refers to as the final chapter. So I was talking to Susan, who would come in, and I said, I'm not going, Kathleen Ziegler, she's the one that's out on the West Coast. Because I was telling Kathleen that I got some fabric from Jordan Fabrics, and they're in Oregon. And I said, that Catherine, it's Kathleen Ziegler who lives out there. But I really enjoy Jordan Fabrics, and I love how generous they are. They've got a wonderful free newsletter they put in your email box every day. So, and they have free patterns, all that good stuff. So anyway, I said to Susan, I'm not going to print out part 6 and part 7 because I'm still so far behind. And if I see those two, I'll get too impatient to want to get done. And I was really enjoying working in the progress, only knowing this much. I'm a squirrel kind of girl. You know what I mean? Squirrel. And this is a way of putting blinders on Deb, and then I focus. And it was a good feeling because I don't often experience that. So when I went up for dinner, I printed it out. And so here was the last page. I had made a bunch of flying geese that then became part of the Sawtooth Star. Yes, you're right, Susan. I mean, that is so cool. And then here is the finished quilt. Now that is an absolute free pattern, free mystery. I think as of today, she'll take them down and then you have to pay for it. But even then, it's not that expensive, and maybe $9. And that is an exquisite pattern. So once I saw this, and I knew that this star we build is the medallion. It's the showpiece of the quilt. Let me show you a fabric I had used that was supposed to be in that center, and it was supposed to be this fabric. I didn't want that to be the center. So after seeing that, I came back and switched centers. I haven't gotten it all done, but I'll show you what I've got. Okay. Here it is. And it's got a couple more borders to go around it. But I adore it. I love it. And because She did such a wonderful job explaining how, because remember, I chose these fabrics blind. I didn't know what this was going to come out looking like. But because she explained how to choose the colors so well, I mean, she told you what size print, multicolors, have these fabrics coordinated. Thank you, Miss Nikki. Thank you, guys. But I ended up putting the rose print in the center. Now, there was a problem, and there was a reason that I first was going to use the rose as fabric A, but when I read more about fabric B and fabric C, I went, oh, I have to switch. Because of the background, she wanted it to be medium, and this background is light. So when I first put the rose fabric in, I fussy cutted that to fill it up with roses. So instead of cutting it on the straight of the grain, I cut it at a 45-degree angle to really fill it up with roses. Thank you. Hi, Alberta. Welcome to our group. Oh, Karen Craig, welcome. It is so nice to see you. Please come back and join us again, because once I see your names again, we'd love to invite you to our free Groups I.O., where we do our Jitsi, we do projects together. We have a lot of fun. We put in free quilt patterns in there for people. We give you opportunities. So we would love to keep seeing you. And when I see your name again, I'll say, hey, if you would like to join our group, and I'll give you our email and you can join. That would be wonderful. Nice to see you. So I put in that floral, but there's a problem. The background on it is the same as the sawtooth points. It's so similar. And so the floral kind of faded out. So I said, what can I do? I went, I'm going to cut a strip of this fabric. And I made it into a tube, a 1/2-inch wide tube. So I cut it 1 inch and then sewed it in half inside out, then used a safety pin, turned it inside out. Then I starched it and I ironed it, hiding the seam in the back of the middle. And then I loaded up some burgundy thread, because luckily, here it is. I loaded up some burgundy thread. Whoop. And then I stitched it. I stitched right on each side of the edge, and I gave the roses a picture frame. And the reason I wanted to tell you that, I knew what I wanted in the center. How do I say this? This fabric right here, it served a purpose because it's multicolor and it's a large design, and that's what I needed. But it's ugly. I didn't want that to be the center of my quilt. So since it's my quilt and I'm the boss of my quilt, I decided I wanted the roses to be the center. But by then making a picture frame edge, I now have set it off so that you can see the center and you can see the sawtooth points on the star. So that was my answer. Some of you might have had a different answer. But anyway, now I'm working on these. I'm working on this border right here. I was in such a hurry, I didn't measure it out first. And you know, you're not supposed to just cut a piece of fabric, whatever length, willy-nilly, and sew it on a border. If you do that, you get wavy borders. I mean, they're waving all over. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take a measurement down the center horizontally. Take a measure down the center vertically. The center of your quilt so far is the most accurate measurement you can get, because as you go to the outside of the quilt, it tends to get larger or smaller. So what you do is you take a measurement down the center, and I got out my tape measure and I folded it in half so I knew where the center was. And then I took my tape measure and I measured, okay, from edge to edge, right down the center. And then I picked it up and turned it the other way down the center, and I measured that. Then you know what length to cut these borders. And that way they'll lay smooth and flat and they won't wave on you. And that's one thing I learned by doing Mystery Quilt, because Miss Mary, she puts all that information and tells you to do that. So she gives you the pre-cut approximation, but then she says, take and measure that again. I just pulled a thread. It was a bobbin. Now I've got to wind it. So be careful when you go to yank threads. I'm so used to, I don't know about y'all, but I have a little thing where I love collecting thread bits. And if I'm working on something, I have got to get every little snippet of thread off of it and into either a trash can or into a little bowl where I keep the trash. Up in my room on my long arm, I have a bowl up there, an old plastic cereal bowl. And I pick every thread, any loose thread anywhere, front, back, whatever. And as I work on a project, I collect all these little thread bits. And at the end of quilting it, I always look at the bowl, look in the bowl, and I'm so proud at all of these little thread bits that I've collected. And then I dump it in the trash can. But I get a feeling of accomplishment by looking at all the thread trash. You know, I tell y'all all this stuff, but it's just this odd little thing. Oops. Hold on one second. I have a puppy who needs to use the bathroom. Oh, I don't know if Mark's going to be. Hold on. I bet you he's not on his phone. I'll be right back. I need to go collar to him because I don't want her to. I don't want her to have an accident. Okay. Mark? Mark? She has to go potty right now. Come on, go potty. Go potty. Come on, go potty. West side, go potty. I'm coming back. Okay. Sorry about that, but we have to start good habits right away. And she's very good at that. And she was over here like whining, like, I gotta go. And when you're 7 pounds, you gotta go. So anyway, but measure from the center each way and any border that goes on. So I knew y'all were here and I was trying so hard. If I could just get this on before they come here. But look what the problem is. You get to the end and I've got 2 inches more border than quilt. So somewhere I did something wrong and I might have to go back. I'll take it off. And if I haven't done anything wrong on this part, then what I'll do is each vertical seam, I'll take in just enough. I'll figure out, okay, I have 2 inches extra. And I'll say, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll say 7 into 2 inches equals maybe 3/8 of an inch. Take the seam up. And remember, when you take up a seam, if you want that one block area to be 3/8 of an inch shorter, then you do half of 3/8 on the seam because it takes up this much on this one, but also, let me show you so I make sense. Like right here, if I wanted to take this, I wanted this block to be 3/8 inch shorter than it is, then I would just sew up half of that 3/8 down here because it takes up half of that on this side, half of that on that side, and then together it would equal 3/8. So that's what I will do to fix this, because you look and go, wait a minute, this is already put together. How in the world? It's okay. You'll just do a little bit at a time, but I'll pre-measure this to know how much I have to take out of this border. And I'll wonder why it didn't fit, because everything else has been doing beautifully. But something I did wrong on this. Maybe I made my seam allowances too shallow on this, but there's a reason. But I've got 2 of those that are going to go, one on the top and one on the bottom. And I think that's so striking. And see the way she did it? Because she had us sew a strip of the dark green in between. So I'm just really, 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 really happy with that. And one fabric that I thought I was going to use is this fabric. But as it worked out, I don't want to use. Oh, good. I want you to be able to learn a lot. And also, I don't know if Susan could type in, if you have questions, if there's something on a quilt or project or craft you're working on and you don't know the answer, I can find it. I might not know it, but I know where to find it. So send me an email at ourtimetoquilt@twc.com. I love finding answers for people, and I love finding ways for you to be successful at what you do, so you'll want to do it more and more. So I decided, instead of this fabric, this was supposed to be the outer border, but with these colors, let me show you again. I'm not always good at color choices, but I'm learning to get better. But when I looked at these, then this seemed a little dull and flat. See if you see what I mean. It just seemed a little dull and flat. And the sad thing is, this fabric is the same fabric as this. So I thought it was cool. And this one, it's Pony Express fabric I got from Pineapple. But this being that Dijon mustard, it just looked flat. So what I'm going to do is use this as my outside border. And the thing I like is now I have it in the center, and then it bounces around here in this. Then it will show up again in this border. And then I'll have another dark burgundy, and then it'll be my outer border. And in the corners of my outer border will be these stars. I thought, well, since I took the center star and replaced this fabric with the rose fabric, do I want to do that? And I went, no. Sometimes resist the impulse to be matchy-matchy. Okay, resist the impulse, because this will give it more interest, more depth. Okay, so this will be lined up with this fabric as the border, and I think having that dramatic green fabric in the center there will get your attention more. Oh, good job, Susan. I'm glad you're having success with it. Yay. Susan was having a problem. She bought some pre-made satin baby binding for her baby quilt she's making. And she said trying to do a mitered corner was a mess. Well, we all know that satin's slippery. It is so tricky. What I suggested, I don't know what other people suggested, but I suggested she could use a walking foot, which really holds the fabric and keeps it from sliding around. Always use a walking foot if you're having trouble with velvet, satins, taffeta. Use a walking foot. Then I said the other thing you could do was hand baste it. Then go back over it with the machine. And what you're doing is just trying to hold it together better. So I'm so proud of Susan, because Yeah, satin's tough to sew on. Silk is too. But anyway, I think this is going to be a good choice for the corner blocks for this border. And I'm going to leave that green exactly where it is because I do like it in the block. I just didn't want it for the center of it. All right. So now you know why I was thinking what I was thinking. One more time, I'll show you the quilt. I am so happy. Now you know why I like doing Mary May patterns, because the woman is good at what she does. And I think this border is going to be sharp. I really do. And I think there are enough places to rest your eye along the way. And let me tell you something else she did. I was a little surprised about this, but I trusted her. She's been designing these patterns for 30 years. And she wanted an almost white or barely off-white. And I thought, everything else is creams and beiges. See this compared to this or this? But I listened to her. I came down and found a fat eighth of white fabric that barely had like a muted blender light beige on it. And I said, I'm going to follow her because I know what she's doing. She's adding sparkle to the pattern. Think about that. I learned from Jenny Beyer, never do matchy-matchy with fabric. You can take a selvage of a fabric and it will have those wonderful dots to show you what colors are in them. If you want to use these dots to find matching fabrics, that's fine for most of them. But take instead a lighter version of one of these, lighter or darker. Don't go all the way matchy-matchy. If you were to use these dots only to pick out the colors and you didn't add something that was lighter or darker than one of the dye colors, your quilt will fall flat. Have you ever done a quilt that's kind of like, that's probably why. So Jenny Beyer says, you've got your focus fabric, choose colors from that, but then throw in one lighter than one of the major colors on there and one darker at least. If you do that, you get sparkle. So now when I show you this again, notice how that really light white really makes it pop. Do you see that? So I knew what she was doing and I went with it because you need that to give the quilt life. And it does. So now that I've talked to you all about that, and just know I'm determined. I am not, let me show you this. I am not going to be done with this until it's all put together. So I have these corner blocks. I have both of these borders that I've got to measure and get fitted right on it. Then I have these narrow borders with the corner blocks on them. Okay. And I like it. She uses that very light color and bounces it out each border. And then look at what else I've got. And somewhere I've got one of them, I had it marked with painter's tape. These are two different lengths, and I will adjust these before I put them on. But I made a ton of half square triangles. So these will then go, let me find the directions again. Here it is. But do you see these? These will go. So next, and this is only top and bottom. It's not on the sides too, which is good. Tries to cut down on some of the busyness. So after I put these on the top and the bottom, then I will put these little sawtooth edges. See how it looks like a saw? And then I will do this final edge here, a final narrow inner border. Then I'll put on the outer border, and then that's where these will come into play. These will come into play in the outer border. Then what I'm going to do is probably use this to bind it. I want something nice and dark to bind it. So, dogs, hey, settle down. I apologize. When you have two little tiny dogs in the house, they love to bark at everything. Let me get your pictures ready and show them what you've been working on, because we've got some really cute photos. Okay? Exactly, Kathleen. I don't want to drop it because it is a beautiful quilt, and I want to get it. If I get the top put together, I'm more likely to quilt it. So let me go to your photos. Oh, and real quick, hold on just a second. I want to see if I can find Miss Bonnie's. Let me see if I can find Miss Bonnie's email that she sent. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Oh, cute. Miss Bonnie did. Okay, let me get back up to the right place. I've got a really cute quilt to show you. Miss Bonnie did, and stay tuned because I've got some. Well, I think I did show you Cheryl Hogan's quilts last time, but oh my gosh! And then Miss Jamie's. Oh, there, I've got some great ones to show you. All right. Let's look. Oh, and just to show you real quick, here are the other Art Deco fabrics I had. Let me see if I can get them enlarged. Oh, that's really blurry, but you see the gold look to it. These were Fiorelli's, the fabric line. Let me see if I can get this one big. But you'll see why I needed that gold. Isn't that pretty? But you'll see why I needed that gold fabric to finish out the line of fabric I had. When you design a quilt, you have to look at the number of pieces you have. Then you have to look at the intensity. And isn't that pretty? So I think the gold blocks that I got from the Egyptian fabric line will fit in perfectly. Now let me see some of my darker. This is an unusual fabric. When I first saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, how do I handle this one? It's like a bunch of tiny mosaic dots, but I think it's going to be great. It's going to give a lot of texture. Then this is what made me fall in love with the fabric line. But now you will see why I got that gold fabric. And why, when I found this fabric, I thought, I need to do an Art Deco, because this fabric just spoke Art Deco to me. Turn of the century wallpaper patterns. I'm trying to think of his name now. Morris wallpaper designs. So that's that. All right, now let me go back to your photos. I'll show you one more time Miss B's Christmas card. Miss B Hepworth from England made all of her Christmas cards this year and birthday cards because she can't get out to go shop for them. And this is so cute. She made this for, I believe, a nephew or grandson's new puppy. But look how she did the Merry Christmas, and then she even did the tiny little stamp on it. That is just so cute. What a talented woman. We love Miss B. Okay. Now, Miss Bonnie's. I'm glad I went and got that other. Here is a beautiful quilt. Miss Bonnie is a quilt tester for Quilt Patterns, an online quilting magazine. And this is just a beautiful, Miss Bonnie loves her hearts, and that is beautiful. Okay, So let me get this back down small enough. But what a beautiful quilt she made as a pattern tester. Then here's her progress at the LaFleur pattern, which several of us are working on. That is just beautiful. She has by far done the most on it. Beautiful. That's going to be heirloom quality. Then here's the picture she just sent is the COVID quilt. This is, for some of you who are new, back in the spring, we decided to celebrate our quarantine time by making and exchanging quilt blocks. And here they are. And what a great quilt Miss Bonnie's putting together. She designed and made the tree blocks, pardon me, to turn it into a neighborhood feeling. We love it, Miss Bonnie. Love, love, love it. Here's another quilt she got done this past year. Miss Bonnie's now retired and just catching up on lost time. She is as happy as a clam because now she gets to do things that she thinks are much more important. And